Bienvenidos y fuerte abrazos a familia. This is Alpha Live, and once again, we come to you to continue to provide empowerment and motivation and inspiration to our community to get together and continue to rise up with one another as we share our knowledge, connect with each other on the internet to make sure we are continuing to grow. Thank you all for being with us here tonight. Tonight is a special episode as we talk about building bridges across cultures and making sure we are continuing to have the conversations that spark the innovation that allow us to continue to take action towards making a difference and making an impact. You see, it's not sufficient to just make a statement. It's not sufficient to just say some words. It requires action. And before we go into the details tonight, we want to continue to do what we always do, make a few celebration remarks. First, we want to start off with our Most Powerful Latinas nominations. Make sure if you have not done it, send in those nominations for the Most Powerful Latinas. It is an amazing opportunity for us to recognize the Latinas across the country that are making a huge impact, not just from a corporate perspective, but also from a social perspective. For the first time ever, we are taking into consideration philanthropists as part of the evaluation for the Most Powerful Latinas. It will have everything in it. It requires you to submit those nominations so we can make sure they're being recognized. Let's take a look at this video.
I think it's such an incredible honor to be on the list of so many incredible women who are trailblazing and literally paving the path for the generations that are coming behind us. And I'm just honored to be in their company. And I think ALPFA is doing such an incredible job to highlight Latinas in the business world that are trailblazing and creating a community for all of us, because we are more powerful when we're together.
ALPFA's Most Powerful Latina list is a perfect example of not only reframing the conversation from a female leadership perspective, but also of what Latinas can do, and hopefully open the door for many other Latinas to come in and build equally successful careers.
Just being recognized to be on the list, much less number one on the list, is a very humbling experience. It's a great honor to be recognized by ALPFA, a great honor to be in the company of all these incredible women that have done such tremendous achievements. One of my biggest pieces of advice is that the title is less important, but your influence and your ability to generate impact is what is most important.
I'm not sure about y'all. I got some chills watching that impact. As Mina Soto said, it's an ability to make an impact in the world. And speaking of making an impact, tonight, stay tuned till the end. We're going to be making an announcement about our virtual convention, but we have some information for you over here. ALPFA 2020 is going virtual. It is definitely disappointing that we cannot be live together in Las Vegas for this convention. However, we can be live together through a virtual event. This year, virtual convention, Beyond the Dream. Our lead partner, Bank of America, has enabled us to be able to put on a phenomenal virtual event. Stay tuned till the end. We have a little teaser video, and we have a surprise with respect to being able to get in an easy way. And now, let's go to the conversation at hand. As we start talking about building bridges across cultures, we all know that over the past few weeks, there have been a lot more conversations with respect to how do you continue to provide support, be allies to those that are focused on Black Lives Matter? How do you provide and be allies to those that are focused from a DACA perspective? And all of you have heard me say before, equity of opportunity is not the same as equity of responsibility. With increased ability comes increased responsibility. And as an organization, ALPFA has a huge platform. And with that, we have a responsibility, not just to say words, but to make sure we are translating those words to actions. And when we put a statement out, something happened after that that I thought was phenomenal, remarkable. A bunch of students got together and said themselves, they need to do something more. They need to be the leaders to show how action occurs after you make a statement. They got together prior to Juneteenth across multiple schools to be able to create this framework and really make sure that they were holding us all accountable to continue to not just have the conversation, but continue to make steps towards taking action and making that impact. I want to make sure that we recognize that committee that got together that includes these students over here from Cornell University: Julio Lopez, Aylan Salazar, Alicia Wagner, Natalie Jimenez, Nicole Guillen, Michael Linton from Texas A&M, Julieta Munoz, April Gonzalez from Bradley University, Vanessa Renteria, Texas A&M, Abigail Avrisu from the University of Illinois at Chicago, Maria Perez, as well as students from CWU and Seton Hall, I believe St. John's, Rutgers as well. We have Alvaro Gonzalez, Luis Camacho Jr., Caressa Alvarez, Luke Tyler, Jackie Rojas, Micaela Galazar, and so many more. The key here was that they got together across all these schools to make sure that we were holding ourselves accountable. And I'd like to welcome tonight 4 of those students that had a significant part in bringing this together. April Gonzalez from Texas A&M, Abigail Adrisu from UT Austin, Julio Lopez Ramos from Cornell, and Aylan Salazar from Cornell. Let's run a quick video and then hear from them. Welcome everybody to Alpha Live tonight, our Building Bridges Across Cultures that you all named for tonight. Love for you to give a little bit more introduction about yourself. April, if we could start off with you, then Aylan, Abigail, and end off with Julio. Give us a little bit about yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is April Gonzalez. I am the marketing officer at Texas A&M University and I am a rising sophomore.
Hello everyone, my name is Aylan Salazar. I am a rising senior at Cornell University, one of the founding members of the reinstated chapter at Cornell.
Hi everyone, my name is Abigail Arvisu. I'm the chapter president at the University of Texas at Austin.
Hello everyone, my name is Julio Lopez and I'm currently the chapter of ALPFA at Cornell University and pretty much the person that's been leading the revitalization of the chapter.
Awesome. Welcome you all. I also want to say for anyone that's watching out there, again, welcome. Thank you for watching. Put in any questions that you have for these amazing students to be able to answer as we're going through this conversation. Julio, I want to start off with you. I'd like to know, how did this whole initiative start? Give me a little bit more about, what happened that sparked what we have here today.
Yeah, well, for starters, I felt very strongly about getting involved, getting more educated, and wanting to take action about the issues that are happening right now, not only nationally, but also worldwide. And I was kind of hesitant to share something that the Alpha National organization put out, because to me, that's kind of taking the lazy way out. That's not really doing everything that we can do as student leaders with platforms. That in itself is a privilege. And in my very strong opinion, with any privilege of holding a title, such as being the president of a chapter, it comes responsibilities and duties. One of them being able to understand what it is that you feel comfortable doing. And in this incident, in this case situation, is that I really wanted to make a team, put a team together so that I can work with other students across different chapters, really, to magnify any action and any ideas that we were kind of developing together. And that's pretty much how this thing started. I decided to reach out to different chapters, and a lot of my own members, which are I'm very grateful for. They were, able to get together on a Sunday night to work on a lot of this, particularly Aylan Salazar and Nicole Guillen, not joining us tonight, but I mean, for the most part, I really appreciate their work and their support in creating what we were able to do and make happen.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Two words that stuck out that I heard there. One, passion and sort of innovating in ideas, right? To be able to, passion helps drive you. The ideas, there's education that's needed in order to be able to do something with it, right? Island, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Some folks don't exactly know what's going on right now. They know about it, but they don't necessarily know what to do, how to engage. What are your thoughts from an education perspective? What are some things that people should be thinking about there?
Yeah, I think just from the get-go, I think it's important to definitely recognize that even us here right now speaking, we don't identify as part of the Afro-Latinx community. And the Afro-Latinx community is actually a huge, actually, like a lot of people are also definitely being impacted by the issues that are being affected by Black people. And I think that just making sure that we continue not to only voice those opinions out, especially as people from our own communities are being affected. I think, us as students, but us as people, we are still learning and we don't have the answers to everything. So the idea to just continue to really be passionate about it and have that drive us, whether it's reading a book or continuing to donate organizations with funds and all that other stuff, I think just continuing to stay away to be active in all this collective, I think can definitely continue to, institute change, whether it be short term or long term. But I think obviously, as we mentioned in our writing, we want to have this be long term and hold people accountable. And I think part of it comes with also recognizing our privilege and, using our institutions and using our voices as part of a larger chapter in ALPFA.
That's great. And thank you very much for that. And so as we start talking about the education piece, what are people's thoughts with respect to, so Abigail, how about you from a, you take the education, then you want to do something with that. Have you had conversations with members of the family or others that you think are important to talk about here?
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the most simple ways, but still very challenging, is to start those conversations. And in the best way to do them with the family and the people around you. So your family, your friends, and even the people you go to school with. And when you're approaching these conversations, it's very important to go in with respect, not only for yourself, have that self-compassion to challenge your own beliefs, especially when you're re-educating yourself about other people's perspectives. And then there's also the other two pieces, which is coming in with love, because these are your family and your friends with pre-existing relationships. And the last thing you want to do is to divide yourself from the people that admire you and love you. And so the other part of that is to implement active listening. And that really just ties in everything with respect, and that entails not creating an argument against someone's perspective, but internalizing their own perspective, their explanation of how they see life. And that will lead you to an understanding and empathy, not necessarily an agreement. You don't have to agree. And that opens up the conversation. And I think it's very important to not only share those perspectives, but also you can share those resources that Aileen was talking about. So you can share books, you can share movies, you can watch movies together. And I think that really opens up a conversation because you can talk about how you felt from those things.
So do you have any advice for someone who wants to open up that conversation with a family member, but doesn't know how to exactly start that conversation? Any thoughts from yourself, Abigail, or anybody else?
Yeah, I can start that off. I did have a conversation with my own family, and a really good way to do that was doing work for my class. I have summer class right now that is opening up these resources, and I started by watching a movie with my mom, and that opened up a conversation just to inform her and let her know that what I'm doing with my platform, so that she doesn't necessarily have to agree, but that she respects. And that I feel, as Julio was saying, it takes all of us. And as Aileen was saying, it's not just the people within that community who identify in that community that need to move the movement forward.
No, I love that. For myself recently, and I rarely post on Facebook. I more kind of watch on Facebook just to see family. One of my family members posted a statement with respect to immigration and the fact that we have a responsibility to do more. And another family member posted something saying, no, we don't. And it's all about, you work hard by yourself and you get it done. And my heart was racing about, do I jump into this or not? And I literally wrote something so long, I had to put in the top of it, if you're not going to read this whole thing, stop now, don't bother reading it, because you got to read the whole thing to understand it. And there was a lot of back and forth in that conversation with the family, but it all ended with everybody saying, we love each other. And as soon as this whole thing is over and everybody could kind of meet again, everybody wants to have a family reunion just to get together and hug. And so, to your point, it's we don't always necessarily agree, but if we're able to plant a seed so that they start understanding there's different perspectives that are being understood, it starts moving us closer. And so that's what I love about those two pieces, the educational component, and then taking action on having a hard conversation, but doing it anyway, just to make sure you're building that bridge and connecting over there. April, I'm curious, right? So there's a lot of things that are happening right now. We talked about the family dynamic, the learning the family dynamic. Are you seeing anything from a community perspective, whether it's at your school or other schools, that you feel is important to have a conversation about, that you think will that people watching can learn from some of the things that you're experiencing?
Yeah, definitely. As a student, we're starting to see a lot of things come from this movement, such as at the school, we're seeing statues or advisors and we have specifically at my school and then other schools around, you'll see people of minorities face different things that the typical student wouldn't face. And that's really starting to come out with this movement. And I feel like as a leader, a lot of us have been using our voice for that in our platforms to make changes about that. And it's not really, it's, as Abigail was stating earlier, you want to listen. And while a tradition might be history for that school, if that tradition makes a certain student at that school feel not included, then you should listen to that and make a change about that. And I've been seeing a lot lately that leaders at these schools, like elders and people that are in charge of that would be able to make these changes, haven't really been doing a lot. So by using our voices and coming together, we're actually going to make that happen. We're actually going to try to make that change, because just releasing statements and things while it goes by and people see it and hear it, it's not really making that action.
Yeah. No, I love that you the word action there a lot, and I think it's important that's so critical. One of the things that we talk about from an ALPFA perspective doesn't have to do with building bridges specifically, but one of our pillars of focus is wealth creation, and we consciously don't call it financial literacy, because financial literacy is learning about financials. Wealth creation requires you to take steps towards building and being able to do something to help your family, your community, to build wealth, right? And so this is the same type of thing. Learning about things is a step in the right direction. Taking action is what's going to translate to the change. For myself, you guys are talking about the different types. I'll tell you, from one of the things that I've done recently is I started listening. I do Audible all the time. I love Audible. Is listening to the book, The New Jim Crow. And I know for myself, it's provided me additional ways to have conversations with people with examples that I didn't know of, or just new things that I never even consciously recognized. That's what systemic means. When they talk about systemic issues, that's what it means. And it's really helped me be able to come and approach the conversation with people in different ways that allows it to be a more productive conversation where they're able to understand what I'm saying. So to your point, the education is critically important, making sure we're helping our families with it, and then translating that to continuous action out there. And so to the point of action, one of the questions that came in is, it ties into, what resources should be out there. And I will turn that into, what should we be doing? Right? As the CEO of ALPFA, what should I be doing to do more for the organization, to provide more access to things? What are your guys' thoughts? What should we be doing as chapters? What should I be doing as a CEO? What should other CEOs in companies out there be thinking about doing while you have this opportunity to you have the stage? I'm curious your guys' thoughts.
Yeah, I'd like to start that question off with this kind of answer, just kind of echoing what April was talking about. As far as the communities, as college students, I think encouraging our organizations to work with other organizations and emphasize that diversity within one another. I think we, as ALPFA itself, has a lot of Afro-Latinx that love to be part of our community, and we have the platform to acknowledge and to support them in any way we can. And emphasizing those collaborations across our campuses. As chapter leaders, we can, ask other organizations to do collaborations with us so that we can learn about each other's cultures, learn about what makes us happy. And to that extent, we can also celebrate, International Afro-Latinx Day together. I think that's something beautiful and something that can be easily done on a chapter level.
I do have more thoughts to add to that. Primarily, two big things. One of them is that the lack of information and the lack of researchers' knowledge does not impede anybody from taking action. And I think to that extent, that's something that I really want to get out there. That idea that life is about not knowing everything, not knowing the whole complete picture, and you'll have many instances where you have to take decisions, regardless of if you're in a leadership position or not. And don't take those decisions for granted. I mean, for the most part, just make sure that you're well intended, make sure you're doing the best that you can, learning from your mistakes, and in my opinion, leveraging what other people know, leveraging what other people have been able to create and done, and most importantly, working with the other youth of today's world. I've been very thankful to work with other ALPFA chapters who, although I started leading the ALPFA chapter this year, I mean, I really didn't know anything about the organization or how other organizations work. And really being able to work and network with other chapter leaders, like the ones here in attendance, has really helped me get out of my shell and explore different opportunities to work with other chapters in the hopes of having greater impact. And I think that's something that I would enjoy seeing more from not only an organization like ALPFA, you as a CEO, but just from other organizations focused on empowering minorities, focused on empowering Latinx people. We need to work together a bit better. And I feel like it can start with us as students right now.
Yeah. And I'll say this, because what you guys just touched on, when I first started in my position with ALPFA, it was like, I know we are Latino focused, but we're it's not just Latino. We're very welcoming, and I was trying to figure out, how do you communicate that? What are the right words? And I went to an event at University of Albany, and the University of Albany chapter it was a joint event with ALPFA and NABA. And when they talked about, they said, we're ALPFA, we are Latino focused, but not Latino exclusive. We include everybody. And I was like, those are the words. Those are the words I'm looking for. Yes, we are inclusive of everybody. We are not exclusive. And so to your point of the collaboration, and I think firming up our infrastructure to enable it to be even faster for chapters to be able to communicate, that'll allow us to continue the ball rolling even better and faster. So I appreciate that, Julio. Eileen, April, what are some of your guys' thoughts?
I think for me also, starting the conversation with yourself, that is hard in itself. I think for a lot of people, recognizing our own privilege, I think, is also the beginning of the conversation. Whether it be understanding that our own institutions, again, have some sort of power. ALPFA has the power to do anything. We have access to certain internships that we're lucky to be able to contribute and work with a lot of people and even be the voices for some of our communities. I think making sure that we, again, use those platforms, hold people accountable, continue to use free resources that are at our disposal literally 24/7, especially during COVID. I think those are things that we can actively continue to do, not just now but always. And also just making sure that when we're working for organizations, they have philanthropy movements, making sure that we continue to push them to support other people who don't have access to certain things and create resources and create more space for people who definitely deserve a voice on the table. So
Yeah, going off of what Aileen said, I think that using our platforms and using our voices is something really big that will really help the movement. Our director at large, Urban Ventura, actually had a situation that happened with police brutality, and he had to go through a lot of things. And he's used that and made a book called An Inch Away from Death. And I find that very inspiring, using something that happened and using that voice and using that platform to let other people know what's been going on and what's happened in your life.
That's great. I appreciate those feedback points. So we have a few more questions that have come in. Abigail, one for you specifically is, what was the movie you and your mom watched?
Yeah, one of the big ones I think was called Dolores. It's a documentary about Dolores Huerta. It was very inspiring for me, and just to touch on the kind of systemic and the education system. As far as that goes, I had not learned about Dolores Huerta, and I'm embarrassed to say it now, but I am so glad I learned about her now in my life. She was a very outspoken woman. She went against society's standards for herself. She sacrificed a lot for leading the Chicano movement with Cesar Chavez, and I learned a lot just by watching that documentary. So I highly recommend it. And it also opens up the conversation outside of Black Lives Matter movement. It's, as you all know, the social movements are all interconnected. We all have each other. And while that's comforting, we should also leverage it. And that's just echoing a lot of what we have said.
I appreciate that. Thank you. So as we start getting ready to close out, there's another question. So I'm going to let you guys have a choice, each go round everybody. You can answer this specific question, or if there's another piece of advice you want to give out there, or you want to do a little bit of both. The question is, how do you balance all of what's going on right now? You've got school, you've got jobs, you've got ALPFA, and you've got this movement that's happening, and you are obviously active in every single piece of those aspects of your life, and you have personal stuff you want to do. What advice do you have from a balance perspective? And also, what closing advice would you give out there to other student chapters who want to do something, or professional chapters or companies?
I think
And we could go all the way around. Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually had a discussion with one of our speakers for ALPFA, and I was setting up a time for him to have like a speech with our chapter. And then I was like, oh yeah, I'm available at these times because I have work. And he said, you're available at any time. You just have to make it happen. And I feel like that really opened my eyes, seeing like how much things mean to you. You're gonna make it happen. And while I have work and school and all of these, and then ALPFA, I feel like you make time for things that are important to you. And I know that this was something that I really wanted to make happen. And whenever my president let me know that they were doing this, whenever my president let me know that Cornell was doing this, like specifically, she let me know towards the beginning. I was like, definitely, I want to hop on this campaign. And I just feel like, while it takes a lot of your time, in the end, it's worth it. And I advise other chapters that while you may have a lot going on right now, it is always worth it to do something that you're passionate about, and just remember the voice you have. And while work is like a big thing right now, just realize what actions you can do to make a lot of things better.
So thank you, April. Who would like to go next? Yep.
I can go next.
Yeah.
I think also the idea that, passion definitely drives a lot of the things that we do, including this project in itself. I think also being able to take a step back from things, which oftentimes we forget to do in taking care of ourselves in the process, is super huge in order for things like this to continue going. People will definitely work to the end and do whatever they need to do, but also if you need to take a step back, do so, and it's totally fine. Because you should be able to count on the other people who are around you to be able to continue the movement for you as well. And I think also making sure that, if you take care of yourself in the process, like more can get done in the end. So making sure, take a step back if you need to, breathe. And, we need everyone from reading a book to actually being out there protesting. So little or small, everything counts.
So I appreciate that, Island.
I like to hop in because I
Julio?
personally felt a little called out by Elan. I really have a big challenge with saying no to things and not taking on things that I really care about. I'm passionate about a lot of things, but like Eileen was suggesting, I really need to get more practice with taking a step back and letting other people manage ideas or thoughts that I would like to see happening. But I know I am limited in bandwidth and what I can do. But like Eileen was saying, there's many different ways to get involved with any movement. It doesn't have to be that you're the one planning everything. It could just be supporting. It could just be sharing something on social media. And another thought that I have for the companies that are listening right now or any employees is that keep your companies accountable for things going on. I mean, we've seen what is going on right now with companies, the statements, the actions being taken. We need to understand that we do have a collective power, specifically as the Latinx community. If you look at the projections for 2050, we will be a big majority of the population. Our value is in dollars and where we spend our money. And if we're more, I would say, thoughtful about how we spend our money and our dollars, we'll very easily see change happening. So that's a little challenge that I have for everyone. Be a bit more conscious with the business partners that you're doing business with, or the companies, the restaurants that you choose to spend your money on and with.
Yeah, kind of going
Julio,
off from. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, keep going. Yeah, no, go for it, Abigail. Yeah.
From Julio, it's just the idea to have an understanding of one another. There is a lot going on, not only the movements, but also, COVID. Everyone's in a tight spot right now. And to that point, there is no perfect time to do anything, right? Being a perfectionist myself, that is a very hard lesson to learn. But I think I have managed my time pretty well. I'm trying to focus on the things that I am passionate about, kind of echoing what April was talking about. I do focus a lot on ALPFA. It means a lot to me. It's given me a lot going into my senior year. I really look back, and ALPFA has some of my best memories just formed there. And with that goes with a lot of just having patience, not only for yourself, but also for the people you're interacting with, having those conversations at home, and even with the companies you're looking to intern with or the people that you do work for or work with. I think having the patience with one another and with each other and on all spectrums is very important.
Awesome. Abigail, Julio, Island, April, thank you so much for joining us tonight, for making sure that the conversation continues to move forward, and for holding yourselves and others and myself accountable for making sure we are continuing to take action, right? ALPFA is about connecting Latino leaders for impact. What I know is I got 4 significant Latino leaders right here on this show tonight. We are all connected, and we are absolutely going to continue to take action. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Very much appreciate it. Very much appreciate your time and all that you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
As we close out, want to make a couple of quick announcements and then show you a video with respect to virtual convention that's coming up. So first, we have from our New York chapter, we have a great event coming up. The Latino role in the Black Lives Matter movement, a conversation about identity and partnership, being sponsored in conjunction with our New York chapter, BNY Mellon, UBS, New York Life. It's happening July 8th on Zoom. Check out the New York ALPFA Instagram or New York Alpha Facebook page for more information on how to be connected in. In addition, if you have missed any episodes of Alpha Live that you would like to see, or watch this one again because it was a ton of great information shared tonight, check out our website, go to alpha.org, look up the Alpha Live link. It's right there. You can see any of the past episodes, including tonight's episode, on that link. And as we close out, I promised an announcement with respect to virtual convention. So a couple things are happening with it that I'm extremely excited about. One, from a student standpoint, all students that are members will be free. Membership for Alpha is being, if you use a code Alpha Cares, you get it for free. So everybody's being upgraded to a gold membership. So you get the entire value of Alpha for free, including the virtual convention, which is going to have a ton of companies there that are looking to connect with you. Make sure you sign up. Tell your friends about it. Make sure you take advantage of the opportunity from the lessons that are going to be taught in the learning sessions all the way through to the opportunities to have face-to-face conversations on video with each individual company. And if you are a professional out there, all of our professional members that are gold members or above, gold or platinum, you get virtual convention for free as well. If you are not currently a member, go sign up so that you could get virtual convention for free. It's going to have amazing content, CPE credits that you can sign up for. Great series, CDO series, executive panels, great conversations to be able to help everybody continue to progress in your careers. And of course, there's always those companies that are recruiting for those senior folks as well. So if you're a professional, do not miss out on this opportunity and make sure you're telling your network. And now let's go over to the video. You guys take a look at this. It's pretty cool. Have a good night.